Ever heard of an animal getting kicked out of a zoo? Well, it's happened, and for some pretty wild reasons. Here are 10 unbelievable animals that were effectively banned from zoos, with good reason, trust me. Number 1. The potty-mouthed parrots. Meet Billy, Eric, Tyson, Jade, and Elsie, a crew of African gray parrots with language so foul they got separated from zoo visitors for life. These cheeky birds at Lincolnshire Wildlife Park, UK, love to swear at guests, apparently for their own amusement. One would squawk a 4-letter word, another would laugh, and they'd all encourage each other to keep going. Imagine strolling through a zoo and a parrot tells you to f off. Visitors actually found it hilarious. 2020 was rough, we all needed a laugh, but management was less amused. They didn't want little kids learning the F-bomb from a feathered tutor. The parrots even started enjoying the shocked reactions. As the park's CEO put it, when a parrot tells you to F off, it amuses people, which only encourages them. It got so out of hand that the staff banished the potty-mouthed flock out of public view, effectively a parrot timeout. They were split up into different areas so they couldn't egg each other on. Talk about foul-mouthed fowl. The zoo hopes they'll learn some nicer words apart from each other. Perhaps they'll start singing Beyoncé like another parrot did. Until then, these birds are banned from polite company for a clucking good reason. Number 2. Ken Allen, the hairy Houdini orangutan. Ever seen Ocean's 11 starring an orangutan? At the San Diego Zoo, a Bornean orangutan named Ken Allen became a legend for his daring escape acts, to the point that he was essentially banned from normal enclosures and placed under maximum security. Nicknamed the Hairy Houdini, Ken Allen escaped his exhibit 3 times in 1985, casually strolling around the zoo each time. He never hurt anyone. He'd roam, check out other animals, and enjoy his day out. Once, keepers found him throwing rocks at a rival orangutan he didn't like. Talk about a grudge. Zookeepers were baffled. They beefed up walls, but Ken would find new tricks, unscrewing bolts with his fingers, even using tools like a crowbar, which he cleverly dropped. Whenever staff came by, acting innocent, the zoo had to deploy keepers in disguises as tourists to spy on him, but Ken wasn't fooled. He could sense he was being watched and would chill out until the coast was clear. His escapes inspired t-shirts, bumper stickers, Free Ken Allen, and even a fan club. Finally, the zoo spent $40,000 eliminating every possible handhold in its habitat. They essentially built a supermax prison just for this ape. Ken Allen never technically got kicked out. He lived out his days at the zoo, but his escapades banned him from a normal enclosure forever. When you outsmart humans so badly that they have to dress up like tourists to contain you, you know you're a legend. Number 3. Valerio the Jaguar, one cat killing spree. In 2018, the Audubon Zoo in New Orleans had a handsome young jaguar named Valerio, who turned out to be a furry Hannibal Lecter. One night, Valerio escaped his habitat due to a faulty roof latch and went on a rampage in the zoo. By morning, keepers were horrified to find Valerio had killed 4 alpacas, an emu, and a fox in nearby enclosures. He was still prowling loose at dawn. Imagine being the person doing morning rounds, and you see a jaguar on the path, looking at you like, I had a big breakfast. Fortunately, Valerio didn't attack any humans and was tranquilized and recaptured safely, but the damage was done. In total, he killed 9 other animals during and shortly after the escape. Some injured animals didn't survive. The zoo was absolutely heartbroken, calling it a tragic incident. Valerio's murder spree meant he basically got banned from ever being in an open-top exhibit again. The zoo reinforced everything and kept him in a secure, roofed enclosure. It wasn't Valerio's fault being a jaguar. He was just doing jaguar things when opportunity knocked, or rather, a roof hatch failed. But you can bet the zoo staff will never let that happen again. This cat now lives under lock and key like the wild assassin he is. A good reason for a ban? Yeah, Jack the Ripper of alpacas definitely counts. Number 4. Pink Floyd, the Flamingo, the Great Escapee. Who needs Madagascar when real zoo animals make a break for it? Back in 2005, 2 flamingos at the Sedgwick County Zoo, Kansas, decided they'd had enough of captive life. During a stormy night, Flamingo 492 and a buddy flew away. Staff hadn't clipped their wings yet. Oops. One vanished, but number 492, now nicknamed Pink Floyd, thrived in the wild. This African flamingo had been spotted for 17 years living free, mostly along the Texas Gulf Coast. Every so often, birders exclaim, "We found the zoo flamingo," as if spotting a celebrity. Escaped flamingo Pink Floyd left, spotted on a Texas beach, years after fleeing the Kansas Zoo. This bird said, "So long, suckers," and never looked back. The zoo long ago gave up trying to recapture Pink Floyd. Attempts would likely just stress the bird out or harm wildlife around it. And honestly, this flamingo is living his best life, chilling with wild flamingos that wandered up from Mexico. Yes, he even found a girlfriend, a Caribbean flamingo, truly a romantic outlaw. The zoo spokeswoman said there's no easy way to catch him without causing more trouble, and he's not hurting anything out there. So Pink Floyd is basically banned from coming back. Not that he'd want to. When you've got a whole gulf to explore, why trade it for a zoo pond? For good measure, Kansas zoos now diligently clip flamingo feathers to prevent any more flying fugitives. But Pink Floyd remains at large, a flamingo folk hero. Number 5. Cyro the Zebra's City Adventure. What happens when a zebra says, "I'm busting out of here"? Chaos in the city, that's what? In March 2023, a young zebra named Cyro at the Seoul Children's Grand Park Zoo, South Korea, escaped his enclosure and ended up trotting through busy city streets for 3 hours. This striped fugitive literally caused a zebra crossing traffic jam, bewildering drivers and pedestrians alike. People couldn't believe their eyes. Is that a zebra? Videos flooded social media of Cyro galloping past cars, in Korea, not the savannah. The backstory: poor Cyro had been acting out since his parents died, refusing to go indoors and even fighting a neighboring kangaroo. Basically a rebellious teen zebra phase. He saw a chance, damaged fencing from chewing on a wooden deck, and bolted. For hours he enjoyed ultimate freedom, probably thinking he was in Fast and Furious Safari Drift. Eventually, a team of zookeepers and firefighters cornered Cyro in an alley and safely sedated him. He was returned home, likely with a massive headache when he woke. Number 6. Inky the Octopus. Prison break through a pipe. Inky, an octopus at New Zealand's National Aquarium, pulled off a ninja escape so legendary it sounds like a Pixar plot. One quiet night in 2016, after a maintenance worker left his tank lid slightly ajar, Inky climbed out of his aquarium, slithered across the floor, and found a drain pipe. That pipe led directly to the ocean, and Inky was like, "Peace out, y'all." He squeezed his squishy body through the 6-inch wide pipe and into Hawke's Bay. Come morning, staff discovered an empty tank and a trail of octopus goo. Houdini strikes again. Octopuses are extremely intelligent and boneless contortionists, known to open jars or slip out of tiny gaps. But Inky's great escape still shocked everyone. The aquarium manager said they weren't even mad. He's such a curious boy. I don't think he was unhappy, just inquisitive. Inky apparently wanted to explore the big blue beyond. They searched, but didn't bother with a full manhunt. Octopus hunt, since he was likely long gone into the sea. And indeed, Inky was never seen again. He's presumably living free on a coral reef, telling wild tales to his octopus friends of the night he fled captivity. Needless to say, Inky's stunt got him permanently banned from aquarium life. They weren't about to coax him back just to have him escape again. Plus, it was kind of a happy ending. The aquarium tightened tank security for their next octopus. No more leaving lids open, folks. Inky's story became famous worldwide, proving that if you give an octopus an inch, he'll take a mile, or in this case, 50 meters of pipe, to the ocean. Talk about a cephalopodcast-worthy escape. Number 7. Caven, the loneliest elephant, gets a rescue. Not all bans are due to misbehavior, some are for mercy. Meet Caven, dubbed the world's loneliest elephant. For 35 years, Caven lived at a zoo in Islamabad, Pakistan, in awful conditions. He was chained, underfed, and after his only elephant companion died, he spiraled into depression, rocking back and forth for hours, a sign of deep trauma. He even grew aggressive from stress and killed 2 keepers, leading the zoo to keep him shackled constantly. Animal welfare activists were outraged. This wasn't how an elephant's life should be. A massive campaign ensued to free Caven. Even Cher, yes, the pop icon, took up his cause. After years of pressure, in 2020, Pakistan's High Court ordered Caven released and the zoo shut down entirely for its cruelty. In a joyful turn, Caven was flown, literally by cargo plane, to a lush sanctuary in Cambodia, with Cher serenading him goodbye. This elephant effectively got banned from that zoo, and the zoo itself was closed for good. Good riddance. Today, Caven is loving life in a 30,000-acre sanctuary, making new elephant friends. His story had a happy ending, from miserable isolation to open forests and proper care. The reason for his ban from the zoo? Rampant cruelty. As one court put it, keeping him there was so inhumane, the only fix was to get him the heck out. Sometimes you have to ban a zoo from an animal. Caven's tale, featured in a Smithsonian Channel documentary, even spurred other places to reconsider how they treat elephants. When Cher is literally singing, "We've got you, babe," to an elephant, you know it's a big deal. Number 8. The world's deadliest bird, cassowary. Ever see a creature so dangerous some zoos keep it behind double barriers and warn staff? Enter at your own peril. Meet the cassowary, a giant flightless bird often called a living dinosaur. These guys have 5-inch dagger claws and a bad attitude. They can disembowel you with one kick. In fact, cassowaries are one of the very few birds that can kill a human. Zoos that house cassowaries handle them with extreme caution, full protective gear, only trained keepers. After some scary incidents, many facilities treat cassowaries as essentially limited access animals, almost banned from direct contact. One infamous episode. In 2001, at the San Francisco Zoo, a cassowary attacked a zookeeper, slashing his leg open with those claws. He was lucky to survive. The zoo admitted it's very unusual for staff to ever be inside the cage with a cassowary, because they know how territorial and lethal these birds are. The injured keeper likely broke protocol or timing and the bird wasn't having it. Similarly, a cassowary in Florida actually killed its owner in 2019. He fell, and the bird pounced. Yikes. No zoo has outright banned cassowaries across the board. They are displayed but always under strict controls. Some zoos may opt not to keep them at all, deeming the risk not worth it. As one Australian zookeeper put it, handling cassowaries is like dealing with a feathered velociraptor. You wouldn't invite a velociraptor to your petting zoo, right? Consider cassowaries as honorary banned from any hands-on exhibit. Look but don't touch for your own safety. After all, who's really in the cage, the bird or you? With a cassowary, it's hard to tell. Number 9. Killer whales and dolphins. Banned in some places. Some sea creatures are so intelligent and large that several places have essentially banned keeping them in zoos, aquariums at all. We're talking orca whales and other cetaceans, dolphins, porpoises. If you've seen Blackfish or heard about SeaWorld, you know the controversy. These marine mammals often suffer in captivity, small tanks, social isolation, and sometimes they turn aggressive from stress. In response, countries and states have started saying, no more orcas in tanks. For example, Canada passed the Free Willy Bill in 2019, which makes it illegal for any park or zoo to breed or capture whales and dolphins for captivity. It was a landmark law. Violators face hefty fines. They made exceptions for rescues or if an animal is already in captivity. Existing dolphins weren't all released, but they can't get new ones. Animal rights groups cheered, saying keeping these highly social, wide-roaming animals in concrete pools is cruel. Similarly, California banned breeding orcas, meaning the current generation at SeaWorld will be the last. and SeaWorld itself, under pressure, ended its orca shows and breeding program in 2016. So while orcas like the famous Tilikum of blackfish fame weren't individually kicked out of their parks, the species is effectively being phased out, banned from future display in many regions. The reason? Public empathy and really bad PR. Orcas did attack trainers in a few tragic cases, but the bans are more about ethics than safety. As Humane Canada put it, ending captivity is news to splash a fin at. Turns out, people don't love seeing depressed whales in small tanks. Shamu's successors might be the last generation in shows. Good reason? Yeah. When a law is literally called Free Willy, you know the world's on the orca's side. Number 10. Baboons with knives. Weaponized monkeys. Time to lighten or frighten the mood. In a scene straight out of Jumanji, a troop of baboons at Knowsley Safari Park, UK, became infamous for vandalizing visitor cars, sometimes armed with knives and screwdrivers. Yes, you read that right. In 2020, park staff noted these cheeky baboons would carry tools and even a chainsaw that visitors apparently gave them for a laugh. The baboons were already notorious car wreckers, ripping off wipers, mirrors, you name it, but now they had weapons. Some guests thought it was hysterical to toss them a wrench or knife and watch the mayhem. It got so bad, there were urban legends of a baboon gang with a chainsaw roaming the safari park. While the chainsaw sighting was likely exaggerated, workers did report seeing baboons with blades and screwdrivers in hand. I can't imagine the insurance claims, "Sorry, a monkey with a knife slashed my tires." Ultimately, the park had to warn visitors sternly, do not arm the baboons. The baboons themselves weren't exactly banned from the safari, they live there. But management considered closing that drive-through section if people didn't stop turning it into a live-action Planet of the Apes. This tale is a great example of why some animals, or people, get banned from zoos, public safety, and animal well-being. Giving baboons weapons is a lose-lose. They could hurt each other or you. Thankfully, no one was seriously injured and the park increased patrols. They likely now search cars for chainsaws the way TSA searches for liquids. A good reason for a ban? Absolutely. These primates went from curious to the purge in no time. Let's keep zoos knife-free, shall we? These wild stories prove that sometimes the zoo just can't handle certain animals. Hit that like button and subscribe for more crazy animal videos. And next time you visit a zoo, maybe leave the fruit pouches at home. And definitely don't give the baboons a chainsaw. Thanks for watching.